This conference will now be recorded.
So yesterday, guys, so let me give a quick recap as to what we have done yesterday. Okay, so we were looking at the assertions. So we have covered a couple of other assertions. Okay, are you able to see my screen, guys? First, let me know. Are you able to see my screen, all of you? Are you able to see my screen? Yes, thanks, Tensty. So yesterday, what we have done is, okay, we have worked on different kinds of other kinds of assertions like size assertion. Okay, so so we have looked at the size assertion, and we've looked at the HTML assertion, okay, and we have looked at the XML assertion, okay. We have looked at the duration assertion, okay. So these are the different assertions that we have seen yesterday, guys. So when we are discussing about the size assertion, so we also discussed about the file downloads, and for some reason we couldn't get going and we couldn't create the script. Okay, we couldn't create the script for file download. Okay, so because of certain issues, okay, so there was only one website that we could figure out, and for this website we couldn't do it. But as soon as we hang up, I mean, as soon as the class was done, I was looking at it. It was, and it worked straightforward. I never had to do anything. I didn't know why it didn't work in the class. So let me show it to you. Okay, so what all I have done, I'm going to show it to you. First, let me create the script from the scratch. Okay, so as you can see here, okay, all I have done is went to the thread group. Okay, and inside the thread group I have just created the sampler, which is the HTTP request, just like before. Okay, and then gave this server name. Okay, and for downloading 1 KB file, you just put a /1 capital K and capital B. Okay, capital K and capital B dot zip. Okay, and then that's about it. Okay, and I never had to do anything. It's just a get request, and it was working. Not sure why it was not working before. Okay, so let me save this as downloads. Okay, save this test plan as downloads. Okay, wonderful, guys. Okay, so all I have done is I've had an HTTP request. I've added an HTTP request. For that, I have given the URL. Okay, without this FTP or whatever it is. Okay, and I never had to even give the port number as well, and it was working. Okay, just to show that it's working, just go ahead and run it with one user for one iteration. Okay. Oh, again today it's giving this error. Yesterday it was working, not sure. Okay, I think this was causing the problems, guys. This HTTP defaults, some of this are causing the issues. So let me disable all of it. Okay, so let me run it now again. Oh, it has passed, you see. So one of this issue, either the cookie manager or the HTTP. Oh yeah, this HTTP defaults is saying HTTPS over here, and that was the issue, to be honest. Okay, so you see, you enable this and you enable this. Okay, now you go ahead and run it. Let me clear all this and then go ahead and run it. It will pass. You see, it is passing. Okay, so this HTTP defaults, which inadvertently you are adding, it is saying HTTPS over here, which will be applied to this particular sampler as well. As I've told you, whatever is there in the HTTP request defaults, that will be applied to every single sampler. So it is applied to this sampler, and without your knowledge, this is becoming HTTPS. Okay, and that's the reason why this sampler was failing. So as soon as you disable this, it was working. Even even in the after the class, last time around, that's what was happening as well. Okay, so the recording is happening, Abdisa. Thank you. Okay, and you see the request is passing. Okay, so let me add the other listeners over here. Let me add this bunch of listeners. Okay, just to know the size of it. View results in the table. Okay, and then let me add the other results like summary report and then aggregate report and all that. Okay, and then is there any other sampler other than the aggregate report? Okay, view results in the table, I've already added it. So this should be good enough. Okay, view results in the table, summary report and aggregate report. Okay, so I have these 4 listeners. Now clear all. Let's go ahead and run it. Okay, so how much data you are downloading? 1262. Okay, actually it's 1 KB. 1 KB is 1024. Okay, so you're downloading what, a 1 KB of file. Okay, so the data that needs to be downloaded, or the data that you expect from the server, is 1024, but it seems to be little more than that. So along with the data, there is other stuff that might be that we are downloading it from the server. So that's the reason why the size seems to be little more than 1024. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so for these kind of cases, you can put a size assertion. Why I'm demonstrating this file downloads, the whole reason for me to download this file downloads is to demonstrate the size assertion. So let me add this size assertion to it. Okay, now you cannot exactly give 1024. I would say greater than or equal to 1024. Okay, so maybe there could be sometimes this little bit of extra data that you download other than the file itself. Okay, maybe the header, maybe the body. So there's some body that you download. So definitely it will be little more than the file. So I'm saying that, greater than or equal to 1024. Okay, so now if the file is downloaded, definitely you would have you'd have to download the data which is more than 1024. Why 1024? Because you are downloading a 1 KB file, and the minimum size that needs to be downloaded from the server is 1 KB, and 1 KB is how many bytes, guys? 1 KB is how many bytes? Can somebody please tell me? 1 KB is how many bytes?
1024.
Okay, so that's exactly what I'm saying here. That's why I've put the size assertion as 1024, and whatever you check here, you see the size in bytes is what you have to give you have to give here, and that's why you have given 1024. Okay, now go ahead and run it. If the size assertion is passed, then definitely the file would have been downloaded. Now you see this is marked as passed, which means that the size assertion would have been passed, so the download would have happened successfully. So this is how you can test the file downloads, and this is where the size assertion can be used. Size assertion can be used. Any doubts and questions here, guys? Any doubts and questions here? So good to see Namrata joining after a very long time. Okay, good to see that. So any doubts, guys? Diva, Abdisa, Atina, Hagos, Namrata, Osman, Raghu. Okay, good to see Raghu as well. Okay, Shabora, Tense. Are you okay with this? Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, any doubts here? Okay, so I have a doubt here. Okay, can I look at that file? I mean, can I save the file? Whatever the file that this sampler or the HTTP request is downloading, is there a way to save that file? Is that a valid question, guys? In LoadRunner, if you have to save, there are a lot of other ways. I mean, you have to do some custom scripting, and finally, finally we came to the conclusion that it's not saving that file that it's downloading, and it's not worth as well, because in that 1 hour, hundreds and thousands of files might be downloaded, so you don't want it to save all of it. So, and it's not required as well. Here we are not doing the manual testing or automation testing. Here we are doing the performance testing. We never open the contents of the file and see, and validate the contents of the file. That is not our objective as a performance tester. Okay, so if you're a manual tester or automation tester, you wanted to download it and you have to open it and you have to see the contents is correct or not. But always remember, after manual testing or functional testing is what you say, then comes the performance testing, and which means that the code would have been validated, or somebody would have validated what is the file that you have downloaded, and is that the file good or bad. Somebody would have validated already. So again, in performance testing, you need not have to validate. Our objective is to check how fast you are able to download it, and whether the downloaded file is the size of the downloaded file. I mean, you are downloading the entire file or not. Okay, are you downloading the entire file, and how long it is taking? And are you downloading the entire file that is being kind of authorized or authenticated by this size assertion? So we are checking if the complete file is getting downloaded or not, and how fast it is downloading. There are different listeners which is giving me Here it is saying that it is taking 332 milliseconds. Okay, so or else 0.3 seconds is what it is taking. Okay, but still, Kumar, I wanted to see, is there an option? Yes, there is an option. As you can see here, in the config element, click on the sampler and then add it, and then in the config element, see if there is any element here which will say save or something like that. Watch carefully, guys. Please tell me. Okay, is there any element? Okay, so which is there over here? Simple configuration. Am I missing something here, guys? There should be something called save response. Okay, fine. Okay, I got it. So go to listeners and say something like that. Can you see something like save to the file or save responses or something like that, guys? Watch carefully. Okay, you see here, save responses to a file. And this is there in the listeners. I thought it was in config element. No, it is in the listeners. Okay, save responses to the file. Okay, save responses to that file. So automatically this response or the file which is getting downloaded, it will be saved into the file, and it will ask you, okay, you don't want it to save the transaction controller sample result, and you see variable name containing saved file name. Okay, variable name containing saved file, you need not have to give, and file name. Okay, file name or file name prefix can include the folders as well. So file name prefix, you can give the file name. Okay, so let's say this file name is 1 KB file. Okay, 1 KB. Okay, 1 KB file. Okay, just the file name itself, I am giving it as a 1 KB file. Okay, but where you wanted to store this, where you wanted to put this file. Okay, the Jmeter will download it. So obviously the Jmeter will download it. Okay, but where would you want to put this file? Also you have to give, right? Let's say you wanted to put it in a desktop. Okay, so let's give the desktop. Okay, let's give the desktop path. Okay, so why this is coming here? Okay, not sure. Okay, anyways, so okay, so just give the path where you wanted to store and then the file name. Okay, so it will automatically, now the files, whatever it can go, it's going to download, it will store it on my desktop. It will store it on my desktop. Okay, and you can play around with this. You know, this is not difficult. These are self-explanatory. You can play around with these options. Okay, and some of it, you know, I'll play around and I will tell you, like, you know, why this is important. Okay, why this is important. Okay, right now I'll say don't add number to the prefix, don't add content type suffix. Okay, so I'm not gonna add this, I'm not gonna say, but here I'll say don't add number to the prefix, so that, you know, I'll tell you the significance of it, and later on I'll also tell you the significance of add timestamp. Okay, now what happens, the file will be downloaded and it will be stored into a file called 1 KB file, and which is there on the desktop. Okay, is that so, Sukumar? Please demonstrate it for me. So I have executed and expect that 1 KB file will be downloaded. And do remember that it is a zip file. How do I know it's a zip file? Because, you know, in your request it is saying it's a zip file, 1 KB zip file. So the zip file has been downloaded. And why the file name is 1 KB file name? Because you gave the file name here. Save responses to the file, you gave it as 1 KB file. Okay, so instead of that you will say that it's a file download. Okay, so file download is the file name that you wanted to give. Okay, so I delete this one. Okay, go ahead and run it, and the file name will be file download. Okay, so wonderful, wonderful. If I run it for, let's say, 10 times, if I run it for 10 times, okay, if I run it for, not 10 times, 10 times will be way too much. Let's run it for 5 times. So if I run it for 5 times, guys, how many files you expect to see on my desktop? How many files you expect to see on my desktop, guys? If I run it for 5 times, okay, how many times you expect to see it on my desktop? Okay, okay, 10 says 1. Okay, I'm running it for 5 times, guys. I'm running it for 5 times. How many files you expect to see on my desktop? Okay, surprisingly all of you are saying 5, or all of you are saying is 1. Okay, to be honest, the answer is 1, but initially I thought there will be 5 files that will be downloaded. Okay, each for each iteration. Since I'm running it for 5 times, for each iteration I expect 1 file to be downloaded. Okay, 1 file to be downloaded. Let me look at the size of this file as well. As you can see here, it is 1024 exactly. Okay, so okay, keeping that as a side. Okay, so I expect I'm running it for 5 times. So 5 files should have been downloaded. So I expect to see like 5 files here, but only one file is getting created. That is because, okay, first time for the first iteration, file download is downloaded, and for the second iteration with the same file name, you're trying to save it, so it has overwritten the first file. So second time, and the third time it has overwritten the second time. Fourth time it has overwritten the third time. So fifth time it has overwritten the fourth file, and you end up having only one file here. Okay, so you expected to see 5 files, but you end up having only one file, because every time you are downloading the same file called file download, which is overwriting the previous file. Okay, now I want all the five to be there. Just say add, don't add number to the prefix, right? Just disable that, which will say that add number to the prefix. Now it will add number to the prefix. So okay, so after for each download, like a number will be added. Now you will see 5 files. Okay, now you will see 5 files. Okay, you see this is 1, this is 2. You see file download 1, file download 2, file download 3, file download 4, file download 5. Why this 1 2 3 4 5 is added? Why this 1 2 3 4 5 is added? Because you added a number to the prefix. Suffix is before, prefix is after, and you are adding a number to the prefix, means after file download 1 2 3 4 5 is added. If you run it for 100 iterations, 100 files will be downloaded. Now you know why you wanted to save, why you don't want it to save the response. Imagine it's a real load test for 1 hour, and let's say there are 1000 file downloads, and each one is 1 GB file. So imagine by the end of the test you have 100 GB content that will be downloaded onto your Jmeter machines. Okay, you don't want it to do that, to be honest. Okay, but for an actual load test you don't want to do it, but maybe you are playing around with the scripts, you wanted to just confirm, or you just wanted to make sure everything is happening fine, you can do this. But when you are doing an actual load test, I would recommend not save responses to the okay fine. So Kumar, is there a way that now I'm running it with, let's say I'm running with 2 users, and each user running for 3 iterations. Okay, each user running for 3 iterations. So which means that the first user run for 3 iterations, second user run for 3 iterations. So how many files we expect to see once you download? How many files you expect to see? Okay, or how many files will be downloaded on my desktop? Quickly, guys. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm running with 2 users, each user running for 3 iterations. How many files we expect to be downloaded? Each user is running for 3 iterations. So overall, we expect 6 files to be downloaded. Okay, we expect 6 files to be downloaded. Let's go ahead and see. The 6 files are getting downloaded. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Wonderful. There's 6 files to be downloaded. 6 files will be downloaded. But you see the number, it is 1 2 3. Okay, 4. Are you seeing the numbers, guys? 5 and then 6. So Kumar, I don't know which one is downloaded by the first user and which one is downloaded by the second user. Is there a way wherein I can append for this file download? I can append the user with which it is downloaded. Which one was downloaded by user 1? Which one was downloaded by user 2? I really wanted to see. Is there a way to know it? Okay, so let's say this one and this one and this one is downloaded by user 1. This one and this one and this one is downloaded by user 2. I wanted to know it. I want to be sure as to which file is downloaded by which user. Is there a way? Is there something that we can do about it? Yes, we can do something about it. Watch carefully. Okay, so you wanted the user. Okay, how you can get the user number? Again, you remember we had something called functional help. Sorry, this is the Jmeter help. We have something called functional helper. Here there is something called thread num, guys. Okay, there is a function called thread num which will give you the thread number. You see thread num which will give you the thread number. Thread is nothing but in Jmeter it's a user, so it will give you the user number. Okay, so how to use this function? Just say generate and copy to the clipboard. This is how you need to use it. This is how you can use the number. It will just print out the user number. Okay, for the user 1 it will give you the user 1, for the user 2 it will give you 2, user 3 it will give you 3. Thread is nothing but user. Thread number, user number means it will give you the user number. Okay, it will give you the user ID. Okay, simply add that. Okay, simply add that to the, okay, simply add that to the end. I mean, okay, just say hyphen just to be on the safer side, and again you say hyphen. Okay, so this prefix, whatever the Jmeter is adding, it will be added right at the end. Okay, and this thread num is something that you are adding. Thread num will print out the number. Okay, the number, the user number. Okay, print out the user number. Wonderful. Okay, so great. Now you see, you not only have the, it will also show you the which user is giving which file. Now you can clearly know it. Okay, let me run it. Okay, now you see file download 1 of 1. Hyphen 1 means hyphen 1 means hyphen. The first one is the thread number. The second, after second hyphen, you have the prefix which the Jmeter itself is adding. Okay, so you see, this is the user. The first file that is downloaded is from user 1, and the second file is also from the user 1. The third file is also from the user 1. Fourth file is from user 2. Fifth file is from user 2. Sixth file is from user 2. Okay, and again this 1, 2, and then this 3, and then this 4, and then this 5, and then this 6 is just the Jmeter is adding. Okay, this is just the prefix which the Jmeter is adding. Okay, prefix which the Jmeter is adding. So Kumar, instead of this prefix which the Jmeter is adding, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is of no relevance, can we print out the iteration number? Can we print out the iteration number? Okay, and one more thing here, 1 of 1, 1 of 2, 1 of 3, this is little confusing. Can we add a text called user so that it is so clear to me as to out of these two numbers I'm confusing which one is the user number and which one is the prefix which Jmeter is adding. I'm little confused, Kumar. Is there something that we can do? Yes, add a text called user here. Add a text called user here. Okay, so that you know that hyphen user and then the user number will be printed out, and here it is a prefix, so hyphen prefix and then the prefix number will be added. Okay, so that it becomes easy for me. Now if I go ahead and run it, okay, it will be absolutely clear for me which one is what. Okay, it will be absolutely clear for me which one is what. Okay, now you see file download user 1 prefix 1, user 1 prefix 2, user 1 prefix 3, user 2 prefix 4, user 2 prefix 5, user 2 prefix 6. But Kumar, this prefix is of no relevance to me. Instead of prefix, I would like to add the iteration number. Is there a way we can generate the iteration number just like we have generated the thread number or the user number? Is there a way we can create the iteration number? Honestly guys, it is not possible from the functions. There is no function over here which will give me the iteration number. Jmeter thought it is not that important, so it didn't added the iteration number, even though it has added the other things. Okay, but like you know, the thread num and then the other things like time and all that it has given. You see the group name is also, if you wanted to print out the group name, okay, thread group name, okay, thread group is there, right? Whatever the thread group name you wanted to print out, which is more like a script name, okay, that you can print out. There are a lot of things that you want, you can get it from here, but not the iteration number. So how do I know, Kumar? Like, is there a workaround? Is there a way we can do it? Definitely. Okay. So there is something called counter here. Okay. There is something called counter. Okay. There is something called counter. Okay. This counter will increment for every iteration. It is incrementing. So this counter can be used for iteration numbers. Okay. So you see, starting value, you start it with 1. Okay. The first value is 1. Increment by 1. So the second iteration it becomes 3, 2, then every time it will increment by 1. There is no maximum value. It can be as long as you want. Number format, leave it as it is. It will take the default format. And variable name, the Jmeter variable name, I'll name it as iteration underscore num. Okay, iteration underscore num. and then track counter independently for each user. So for each user, the iteration, I mean, it will keep track of it. For user 1, it will start with 1 and keep incrementing. User 2 also it will start with 1. Okay, you track counter independently. Reset counter on each thread group iteration. So there are multiple thread groups, then you can, and then you are using it outside the thread group in the test plan level, then probably we can use it. But here I've used it inside the thread group itself, so there is no point using this. Okay, so the variable name I'm doing it as iteration number. Okay, now you can use it here. Okay, instead of prefix, I'll say iteration number. Okay, and then the variable name iteration number, and now you say don't add the number to the prefix because I'm already printing out the iteration number. And will this work, guys? This is a Jmeter variable. Is there something that I have to do about this? Oh, this is prefix, but it is adding in the post. Okay, so guys, do you think it will work? This one here? Am I going too fast, guys, or is it okay? Yeah. So this is okay. Yeah. Yeah, this is supposed to be postfix, right? Yeah, it's not a prefix. I didn't realize that, you know. So prefix means something, a number which can be added before, but don't add a number to prefix. Okay, don't add a number to the prefix. So this is considered to be the prefix, and whatever the number that will be added will be a postfix. Okay, I got it. So dollar and then flower braces, dollar and the flower braces, so that it will print out the iteration number. So it has a text called user, and then it will print out the user number, and then the iteration, and then it will print out the iteration number. Okay, wonderful, guys. So let me go ahead and run it now. Okay, you see file download user 1 iteration 1, user 1 iteration 2, user 1 iteration 3. Again, you see user 2 iteration 1, user 2 iteration 2, user 2 iteration 3. Okay, I need not have to explain all this, guys, but you know the reason why I've explained all this is we can use this function called underscore thread num. Okay, and if there is a, I mean, in your when you're creating the script, if there was a need to print out the iteration number or to add the iteration number or to generate the iteration number, how would you do it? Okay, that is the reason why I spent so much time on these files, save responses to the files. Okay, now here my main agenda, I mean, in the real world nobody actually downloads the files, to be honest, guys. As I've told you, it will fill up your Jmeter systems which you don't want it to, but just in case you wanted to download, you wanted to see that file, okay, download and save that file. I mean, you create the scripts for downloads, but you don't save the download files. That's what I meant when you don't download. Okay, and I just wanted to demonstrate because you know I want to demonstrate because there is an element called save responses to the file, which you can do it even though it's not a file download. You can still save the responses. Okay, so whatever the response, in case if you're interested. Okay, so and then I want you to understand that there is these two functions. There is this function called underscore thread num, which can be used in this way, and also there is a way workaround. There is no function called iteration number, but there is a workaround for that. You know, that workaround is using this element called counter. Okay, element called counter, and you can talk about all this as a scripting challenges in your interviews. Okay, you say that you know there was a time wherein you have to generate the iteration number, so there is no default Jmeter function to generate the iteration number, so you have used an element called counter. Okay, so just want you to be aware of it. So I went in depth and covered all this just because I want you to be aware, you know, that you know these are all the things that you can do in Jmeter. Not necessarily you would have to do it, you know, for this one. Okay, but there might be a need which might be arise for you in other circumstances, and if that is so, you can do it with this way. Okay, that's what I wanted to tell you. Okay, is it clear, guys, all of you? And all this while I've been using the word prefix for something that is being added after. To be honest, you have to use a word called proof or postfix. Okay, so I've been using the word called prefix because I blindly believe Jmeter and I went with this term called prefix without paying enough attention. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, are we clear so far, guys? Are we clear so far? How to generate the iteration number, how to generate the user or the user number. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so we have demonstrated, I've demonstrated how to download the files. I've demonstrated how to validate using the size assertion, especially since it's a file download, size assertion is necessary, and also demonstrated in case if you wanted to save that file, how to do it, and then also demonstrated where and how you can use this function called underscore thread num, and also demonstrated in case if you want to generate the iteration number, how can you do it. Okay, okay, wonderful, guys. So now there is one assertion which is still pending, okay, which is the JSON assertion. Some of the students after the class showed some concern about the JSON assertion and asked me to show how the JSON assertion works. Okay, so let me save this. Okay, let me create a new script. Okay, so for the JSON assertion, I want the output to be JSON. So if I want the output to be JSON, I couldn't find an application where the output is JSON, but I found the web services. I found some SOAP web services where the output is JSON. Okay, if you go back, you remember this application, guys, rest.in. Okay, and you see, so, and this one is, you see, for this request the output is a JSON. Okay, for this request the output is a JSON. Okay, this is the request and this is the JSON, and this is a RESTful web service. Okay, this is a RESTful web service. All people usually for the RESTful web services, all they give is the URL. Okay, all they give is the URL, and once they give the URL, this is the output, and you wanted to check the output. Typically it is not possible on the browsers, even though over here on the browser it is giving you the output, but in some in some RESTful web services, if you paste that URL on the browser, you might not be able to see the output. In that case, which tool we will use, guys? I think most of you have attended my web services class. Okay, so which tool we will use to see the output of the RESTful web services? What is the tool that we can use to see the output of the RESTful web services? Let me see how many of them. Wonderful. Okay, Gaurav Date says SOAP UI. Okay, Gaurav Date says Postman. Okay, SOAP. Okay, what is a SOAP? Postman. SOAP is a SOAP request. Okay, it's not a tool. Okay, so SOAP UI is the tool. Okay, SOAP UI is the tool. SOAP itself is a request. Okay, so it's like a service. Okay, it's a web service. Okay, wonderful. Athena, there's only two people who remember Postman. Okay, we can use, you can use the SOAP UI as well. Okay, SOAP UI also you can use it, but Postman is generally used. Okay, so you can use the Postman, but here without the help of Postman, it is showing the output, guys. It is showing the output from the browser itself. So, and now I need not have to open the Postman and show the output to you. So let me go with this one. Okay, now how can I build a request? How can I build a script in Jmeter for this RESTful web service? How can I build a script? Okay, how can I build a script in Jmeter for this RESTful web services? It is very simple, guys. I'll start from the template. Okay, I'll start from the template and go ahead and pick up a template. If it says RESTful web service, okay, looks like there is nothing which is RESTful web service here. Okay, but there is something which is still there. There is one template which is there for web services, but that is for SOAP. I'll go ahead and use it. It's okay. Okay, so it's fine. I'll go ahead and use it. Okay, looks like they already have certain requests and all that, so I don't need this one. I don't need this predefined components. Okay, so and this is the SOAP request, and they have some header in the SOAP request, and then they have a response assertion as well. So I'll delete this response assertion. I don't have it. And then here is the SOAP request. Instead of SOAP request, I'll say REST request. Okay, And for SOAP request, they already gave you an example as to how to do a SOAP request. You can run it, you can see it, how they are doing it. They have done it for something called a weather.asmx. You can run it definitely and see how the response is and all that. But I'm least interested about this now. Okay, I am interested about the RESTful web service. Okay, so RESTful request. Okay, and this is for a RESTful request, and this is for what? List. Okay, list single user, right? List single user. Okay, list single. Wonderful. Okay, and here is the URL. Here is the URL request.in, and okay, and the path, you put it in the path, and this is a get request. Okay, this is a get request. How do I know it's a get request? Because it's clearly showing for single user request is a get request. Okay, URL, I got it from here. You see path API user page 2. Okay, API. So where is this? This one. Okay, API user 2, API user 2, and this is the URL request.in. I've added that, and I don't need that. Okay, and since this is HTTPS, I have to specifically say HTTPS. Okay, HTTPS. Okay, wonderful. Now the whole request has been built, guys. I don't need the body. This body came with the template. I'll go ahead and delete the body. Okay, usually a GET request would not have a body. I'll go ahead and delete the body. Okay, headers, let it be there, guys. I don't know. I mean, these headers, I can go ahead and delete it, but let it be there. I don't think it's gonna cause any harm to me. Okay, wonderful, guys, wonderful. And if I wanted to see the results, it will be there in the view results tree. Let me enable it and let me run it to see, if there is any issue. Okay, so first let me save this. Okay, okay, stop it. Okay, let me save the script. Save the script as, instead of view results tree, I'll say RESTful web services. RESTful web services. Wonderful. Okay. Okay, so clear all, and looks like you're running it for infinite number of times, or you're running it for a lot of times. Let me run it for only one iteration and one user and one iteration. Let me run it for one user, one iteration. Okay, let me clear all the listeners and run it. Okay, you see my request has passed. My request has passed. Okay, this is how you can build a script for RESTful web services. So in the interview, you can also say that you have used Jmeter for creating the RESTful web services or web services, especially RESTful. You can play around with the SOAP as well. You can take some SOAP request. Okay, already with the template, they are giving a weather service. I mean, there is an application, there is a web service called weather web service. They are giving it. You can play around with that. Okay, you can play around with that. It is not at all difficult to create a scripts for web services using Jmeter. It is very, very, very simple, just like as I've told you. You give the URL, you give get or put request, and that's about it, and you run it. Okay, and if there are any headers, you give the headers as well. If there are no headers, it is well and good. Okay, it's all fine, and you see it is getting passed as well, and you can look at the response data as well. You're getting this response. If you wanted to look at the response in a JSON, you can select the JSON over here format, and you'll be able to see the response in the JSON. You see who is the user 2? You see you're trying to list out the user 2. Who is the user 2? User 2 is the viewer. His last name is Weaver, his first name is Janet, and the ID is 2, which is what we are printing. His email ID is janet.weaver@request.in, and here is his avatar. Okay, if you go back and look at this on the browser, you will know what is you see JPG is a image. You will know what is that image. Okay, you can look at the avatar of him. Okay, maybe I don't know, it is erroring out. Okay, there is double forward slashes it is adding. I'm not sure why it is adding double forward slashes. Okay, HTTPS. Okay, I mean it should work. Okay, maybe I'm not sure why it is adding 2 forward slashes. Okay, there's one here and then there's one here. Anyways, okay, here it seems to be the avatar. You play around on it and you put it on the website. It will work. Okay, it will work. It will certainly work. Okay, maybe there are 2 forward slashes it is adding. Okay, maybe you can delete one of these forward slash. I think it will work. Okay, so it will work. But I'm least interested to honestly look at the the avatar, guys. Okay, but since we have already tried it, let's go ahead and look at it. Okay, here seems to be the avatar of that guy, whoever the weaver is. Okay, see, he seems to be the weaver. Okay, so anyways, okay. Wonderful. Okay, so now you see this is the response. Okay, are we clear with this, guys? Are we clear as to how to create the scripts for the RESTful web services? Are we clear? Or do you want me to show it for one more request as well? So guys, please tell me, guys. Okay, let's do it for one more request, guys. Let's do it for one more request. Okay, so which one? Okay, which one you pick one of them. Okay, well, okay, Tens, you said you wanted one more, right? Okay, Usman, you said one more, right? Hagos and Usman, pick up one more request. A post request. Okay, it makes sense. Can we do this? Can we use this one, post request? Okay, here is the URL. Okay, and okay, where is the post request? Okay, here is the URL and here is the body. Okay, so let me go ahead and do this. Okay, let me add one more HTTP request here. Okay, and here for this HTTP request, what do I say? We are doing it for create. Okay, so it says create. Okay, and obviously it's a RESTful web services. Okay, wonderful. Okay, okay, and then okay, so this is the post, and what is the URL? This URL here. Okay, now paste it here. Okay, so here is the path. So let me copy the path and put it over here. Okay, and then this one. Okay, take it out from here. Okay, now everything is there. And here, is this a post request or get request? Okay, is it a post request or guest request? It's a post request. How do I know? Here, post request. And what is the body? Usually a post request would have a body. So here is the body that you need to send. Okay, so you can put that body over here. Okay, post requests usually have the body, so that you're adding. Looks like there are no headers, so I'll not add any headers. Okay, if there are any headers, you can add an element called, okay, so you can add this config element called headers, and you can add whatever the headers that are required, you can add it over here. Okay, wonderful. So this is about it, guys. So we can go ahead and run it. Okay, so what is the response that we are expecting? Name Morpheus, job leader, ID, and create date should be displayed. That is the response, which is 201. Okay, let's see if that is the response that we can expect out of this. Let me clear all the listeners and let me go ahead and run it. Okay, so you see create. Okay, so you see create RESTful web services. So you see is it a create? No. Okay. What is happening? Am I giving the right URL, guys? API users. API users. Okay. API users. I'm giving the right URL. API users request.in, and you give the body as well. Okay. And it is a post request. Okay. And it is a post request. Okay. So what we are expecting is this needs to be, this needs to be printed out. So that's what you expected. Oh, no. Okay, there's more to it. Okay, so it is just hitting this URL, guys. It's just hitting this URL. Okay, but it's not creating anything. Okay, because this URL is API users, and then this is a post request. Okay, so you're expecting that something to be created, but that's not what is happening here. It is not taking it as a post request. Okay. Any pointers here? Any pointers here, guys? Is there anything that I'm doing incorrectly here? I'm giving the body as well. Okay. Something is missing here. Okay, let me build it from the template, guys. Let me see if it is of any change at all. If I oh, this is HTTPS, that is what is missing. Okay, I think that's a problem. Yeah, there you go. You see, creation date and then the ID. That is what I wanted to see. You see, this is what is created and this is the date. Okay, what I missed was the HTTPS, guys. Okay, so you see, since the HTTPS was missed, I didn't get the response that I intended to. Now you see, so it is saying that it is a create request, right? So by the end of this, what is the output that we expect out of this service? a user has to be created with this name and with this job, and that's exactly what is output. It has been created and it has given the creation date, and it was also assigned the ID to it saying that it has been created. Okay, wonderful guys. So are we clear guys, or should I explain one more? Gautam, wonderful, you cached it. I haven't seen it, HTTPS, whatever you said, wonderful. Okay, so Usman and Hagos, are we clear with this one? Yeah, okay. Typically for this one, you see, okay, for this kind of request, what we see is, okay, there is something called defaults which will be added, as I've told you before, okay. So you see HTTP defaults will be added to it, config element, and you see HTTP request defaults will be added to it. And here in the HTTP request defaults, what you add is the server name will not change from request to request. You add the server name over there, okay. So you add the server name over there, and the protocol will not change from request to request. So you add it in the HTTP request defaults. Okay. So whatever you add in the HTTP request defaults, that is applicable to every single request. Sorry, every single sampler or every single request which is there in that thread group. So here you need not have to add the protocol or server name. Here also you need not have to add the protocol or the server name. Okay, and in case if there is any port number, you give the port number over here, which means that it is applicable to every request which is there over here. Okay, and let's say for whatever the reason, every single request, okay, every single request is a get request. You can just simply, oh, it is not giving an option of a get or a post here. Okay, so whatever you, and for whatever the reason, if the path is same for all of them, you can give a path here so that the same path is applicable to all the users, but the path cannot be same for all of it. Okay, now you see this protocol and server name, you give it as an HTTP request defaults. So when you are building this HTTP request, they are saving the time and efforts to fill in this one. You need not even have to fill in, just fill the path and give the method, and if it's post request, put the body, and that's about it. And for all the headers it is same. So on the thread group level, you just add the headers. Okay, so just add the HTTP header and give the header here. So for all the requests, the headers are same, give the headers here. So which means that for every single request, these headers are applicable. So for whatever the reason, the request, for all the requests, the headers are same. Now add this HTTP header manager on this thread group level and add the headers so that the same headers will be applicable to all of it. In that case, you need not have to add the headers for each request separately. But if there are some separate headers which is not applicable to all the requests and applicable to only this request, in those cases you add these headers like this. Okay, otherwise add the header manager on the thread group level, Okay, are we clear guys? Are we clear? Okay, now with this also it will run just to prove a point. So let me run it. You see, it is working. It is created and this is listing out the users. Okay, listing out the users. Are we clear guys? Are we clear all of you? Are we clear all of you? Some of you who have taken the break and have not watched my videos, there will be little difficulty in understanding these classes guys, because there is a flow. Always there might be some background as to what is being taught today. Okay, so if you're facing that difficulty, it is because you took a break, maybe. Okay, so the whole reason why I'm demonstrating these web services for you is so that I can demonstrate the JSON assertion. Why? I'm going to demonstrate the JSON assertion, which I'm going to do it after the break. Take a 10 minutes break, guys. After the break, get ready to see the JSON assertion. It is little different from how you do, how you add it for other assertion. It is little different from that. Just understand, just watch and understand. Okay, as to how to do the JSON assertion. Then we will go into the next important topic called parameterization. Okay, so today we will complete the chapter called parameterization as well, guys. So from tomorrow onwards, there is a correlation. Okay, and over the weekend, guys, and over the weekend, which is on Sunday for me. Okay, so Sunday evening for me. Okay, evening for me. Okay, which will be Sunday morning for folks in US. Okay, so Sunday evening for me means it is in India. Okay, so I'll give you the timings as well. Okay, I am taking a class. Okay, so this is a class on Jmeter. Okay, so this is how to integrate Jenkins with Jmeter. Okay, so in the interviews they might ask you. This is a good topic to know and understand. Okay, so whoever is interested, they can attend. This is out of scope for our class syllabus, but nevertheless this is very important, and it will be an added benefit if you say that you have already integrated your Jmeter with Jenkins. Okay, so Jenkins is a continuous integration tool, CI/CD tool. Okay, CI/CD tool, what is it? It's Jenkins. Okay, so I am not gonna tell you CI/CD, what is CI/CD. I expect that you will do research as to what is CI/CD and you get back to me. Okay, try to understand what is CI/CD and also try to understand Jenkins as to how it will help the CI/CD. Okay, in the class on Sunday, I'll just show you how to integrate Jenkins with Jmeter. Okay, so anybody is interested, you can attend it, and I would recommend strongly to attend it. However, I'll record it and I'll post it on my YouTube channel from where you can do it. Okay, definitely it will be recorded and it will be posted on my YouTube channel as well, and I will be sending it out to you. It is definitely in the interviews they might ask you about this, but in case if they don't ask you as well, you can project this as a challenge, saying that you have to integrate your Jenkins with your Jmeter with the Jenkins, because that's how your organization was, and how you have done it. I'm going to show you in the class. You can it, and this is for not for just you guys. I wanted to do it for everybody. So whoever is interested, you can tell your friends, whoever is out there, you can inform anybody and everybody out there. If they are interested, they wanted to learn, they can come and learn. In case by that time, if I have figured out how to integrate Jenkins with LoadRunner, I'll also demonstrate that part as well. Okay, how to integrate Jenkins with LoadRunner as well. I'll try to demonstrate that part as well, in case if I figure out how to do it before that. Okay, so I would recommend you to attend it. However, I'll record and put it on my YouTube channel as well. Okay, so let's take a 10 minutes break. After 10 minutes break, I'm going to show you how to put a JSON assertion and also parameterization. Expect the today's class to go little longer, guys. And any feedback, please let me know. I'm going little fast, I know, but I'm doing it on purpose, because you see the class strength has been decreasing every day. And if I go nice and slow and continue for next 10 days, I think nobody will attend by end of the course. So that's why I'm pushing my classes a little bit. In case if you are not understanding for whatever the reason, look at the recorded videos multiple times. Definitely it will help you. Okay, so I'm putting you on mute, and by the way, please give me the feedback, guys. Please give me the feedback if I'm going fast or slow. You need not have to tell me anything to impress me. It is just for you. I just need to understand as well how I'm going, as I'm going fast or slow. Okay, yeah, please put it down on the chat window. Please put it down on the chat window. I want to hear from all the 13 of them. Okay, whether they're following the class or not. Okay, now I want it now, guys. Okay, all the 13 of them. If I'm going fast or if I'm going slow during this break, by the time I come back from the break, I expect you to put it down on the chat window how I'm doing, fast or slow. Okay, guys, are you listening? Knock, knock. Am I audible? Okay. Okay. I know I'm going fast, so I want you to confirm. I mean, as long as you're understanding, I'm fine with it. I don't care. I mean, if I'm going fast, slow, it doesn't matter. Okay, you're understanding, right? That's good. Okay, guys. Okay, let me come back from the break and let's look at the JSON session. So guys, are you able to hear me? Can we get started? Can we get started, guys? Are you able to hear me? All of you? Yeah? Okay. So before the break, as I've told you, we wanted to see how the JSON assertion works. Okay. Now, for one of these requests, I'll put a JSON assertion. Let me put it on this first request, which is list single user. Okay. On this first request, which is on the first web service, which is the list single user, let me add a JSON assertion. Okay. So let me add a JSON assertion. Why I'm adding a JSON assertion? Because the output of this is in JSON. You see, this is a JSON format. If you look at the format itself, you know it is in JSON. If it was XML, then was an opening tag, closing tag, and all that would have been there. But this is not an XML, it is a JSON. So definitely, no, you need a JSON assertion. So you can put a JSON assertion on last name, wherein the last name is viewer, or you can put a JSON assertion on ID, which is to, or avatar, which is this thing, or a first name, which is Janet, or email, which is janetweaver.request.it. You can put a JSON assertion any one of the data. You can put it on a last name, ID, avatar, first name, or any email. Okay, you can put, there are five of them here in this data. There are 5 of them. Okay, and you can put a JSON assertion in any one of them. Wonderful. Let me try to put it the JSON assertion on the first name, and the first name should have been Janet. Okay, so how can I put it? I have added the JSON assertion. There is comments. I said there is something called assert Jmeter path exists. What is it? Okay, and where do I put that value? I wanted to put the JSON assertion on what? I want to put the JSON assertion on what? First name, which is Janet. So where will I put this Janet? Okay, where will I verify that the output contains Janet or not? Where should I put the text called Janet? There's no option here. Okay, but then there is something called assert JSON path. Okay, so there is something called JSON path wherein you are asserting, or when you are doing a text checkpoint or a checkpoint on JSON path. What is this JSON path? Okay, let's try to explore that. Okay, now here instead of JSON, there is something called JSON path finder. Okay, there is something called JSON path finder. You see, path tester. You see, JSON path tester. Here it's gonna accept the JSON path. And how do I know what is the JSON path? What I wanted to know, I wanted to know the JSON path for Janet. So how would I know the JSON path for that? Okay, for Janet, the path seems to be the first name. If I just try to test it with the first name, you see the JSON path tester will allow you to test it. What I wanted to test, I wanted to get the JSON path for Janet. Why? Because I wanted to put the assertion for this Janet. Okay, so first name seems to be the tag for that. If I go ahead and test it, it says no match. So obviously it is not working. But usually, okay, for the JSON, the syntax is dollar dot dot. Okay, dollar, usually use dollar for everything, and dot dot means it can be on any path. Okay, it can be on the data, or it can be last name, it can be ID, it can be avatar, it could be any of this. So dot dot is more like, okay, it will go in any levels. Okay, it is for any levels. So simply remember dot dot, and you say first name, you test it, you see result is Janet. Okay, if I say dollar dot dot last name, last underscore name, or you copy paste this, okay, and then test it, you get viewer. And dollar dot dot email, you test it, it will be Janet. So dot dot represents, it's a free thing. I mean, in the sense, like, you know, it can exist in any path. Okay, it could be on this level or this level or this level, it could be on any level. So it will keep searching from the root level, and dot dot means it could be on any level. Okay, it will search in the root level, it will search in the data level, and it will search in this level as well. Dot dot means, dollar means it's a variable. Okay, so something like that, and the last name is, you know, whatever the name that you want. Okay, you wanted to put a JSON text path on viewer, you say dollar dot dot last name, and it will print out the viewer. Okay, so first name or email. Okay, you wanted to put it on an email, Okay, so test it and you will have the email address. So let's try to put the JSON assertion on the email address, guys. So the path, JSON path expression is $.email. So let me go ahead and put it over here. Okay, and then the value of that should be what? And the value of that, if the response is correct, then the value of that will be Janet.Weaver. Okay, so Janet.Weaver. Wonderful. Okay, wonderful. So you have the JSON assertion. Oh, I've put the JSON assertion only for the first request. As an assignment, you can take it for the second request. So I expect that you do the assignment that is for the second request, which is create request, or any post request, you'll take it and put a JSON assertion on that. Okay, now let me go ahead and run it. Okay, so if the JSON assertion is a pass, then this will show as a pass. So you see it is passed. So nowhere it will tell you that the JSON assertion is a pass. If it is a pass, nowhere it will tell you. That's what I have been telling you about the assertions. If it is a pass, nowhere it will tell you that it's a pass. Okay, now purposefully what I'll do is I'll put something else so that it will fail. So now you see, if I run it, okay, you see this has failed, and it will tell you why it has failed as well. Okay, it's not telling me. Oh, I have to go back and say this one as a text so that it will tell you why it has failed. Okay, so failure message, value expected to match the regular expression is Janet.Weaver. Okay, but it didn't match this one. Okay, this is what it is supposed to match it, but this is what is the output, and that is the reason why the assertion has failed. Okay, just to show that the assertion is actually happening, guys. Okay, unless you if it's a fail, it will not show. Okay, if you see now it is a pass, we don't even know that the assertion is happening or not, to be honest. Okay, so that is the only thing with Jmeter, but it is fine, guys. I mean, only for the explanation purposes you wanted it to be printed out. But if you're doing a real-time project and if it's a pass, you know that the assertion has passed. So what's a big deal? Okay, if you want the assertion to be on the first name, you can do it as well, guys. Okay, so here you go back to JSON path tester, and let's say I wanted to do it on the first name. Okay, just copy this tag first name, or the key which is first name, and then as a syntax you put like $.dot and you say test it, and you say Janet. So copy this JSON path into this JSON path, and then the output should be what? Janet. Copy it and put it here, Janet. Okay, now go ahead and clear all the data and run it, and you see the first one is passed, which means that the assertion is passed. This is how you can use the JSON assertion, guys. Okay, so in the interviews, I expect that you talk about this JSON path as well. Okay, because JSON assertion is not straightforward like your other assertions, like response assertion. Okay, in the response assertion, what you have put is just the text. Okay, it was good, but here first you need to figure out the JSON path, and then you have to put the text. So figure out the JSON path is not straightforward, guys. It's $.dot and you have to give the name. Okay, name of the key value. Okay, this is the key value, right? Key and then the value. So you need to figure out the key. Okay, so figure out the key and then the value, you put it over here. Okay, value, you put it over here. Are we clear, guys? Are we clear? Now I believe if there is any RESTful web services project comes, you will be able to do it, and pray for it, guys. Okay, if there is a project which contains only RESTful web services, I'm telling you, your life will be very, very peaceful. In one day you can create, if there are 30 web services you can create in one day, I'm telling you, guys. In one day you can create the scripts for all the 30. Even though they give you 1 month or 2 months, you can just do it in one day, and for execution you might have 2 to 3 days. That's it. Okay, just pray that when you get into the real-time projects, they will give you the RESTful web services. Oh, okay, okay, wonderful, guys. Are we clear? Are we clear, all of you? Are we clear with this JSON assertions? So Kumar, can't we use the regular response assertion over here? Okay, guys, are we clear, guys? Are you listening, guys? Hello, hello. I'm not getting any responses. Are you listening? Okay, so next out is, can we put a simple response assertion over here? We can put it and it will still work. Response assertion. Okay, so you put the response assertions on Janet. Okay, it will work. I'll disable this one. Okay, and you see I'll clear all this data in my listeners, and you see it is working. Okay, your regular response assertions on Janet is working. Okay, but it's better we use the JSON assertion because it is given, I mean, they have given the JSON assertion. It will be it will be exact, it will be appropriate. If you use the JSON assertion for first name, it has to be Janet, and if you put one more JSON assertion for last name, it has to be Weaver. So you can be very particular about what it has to be. But response assertion, it is just in the whole response, it will search for the text called Janet. If it is there, it will pass. Okay, it's better. If it's a JSON request and the output is JSON, it is better we use the JSON assertions rather than the response assertion. Okay, wonderful guys. Okay, so should we talk about parameterization today or should we talk about it tomorrow? Please advise guys. Let's stop the class today and continue tomorrow for parameterization, or we'll continue with the parameterization tomorrow. Okay, so watch this video, practice guys, create couple of scripts for web services, RESTful web services, add the JSON assertions. While doing it, it might look very simple to you, but you play around, you will understand the difficulties. I would want you to play around with this counter. I want you to play around with this Jmeter function called _threadnum, okay, and I want you to play around with how to save the files, okay, and put the size assertion, and then how to deal with the file downloads. You can talk about all this as your scripting challenges, guys. Okay, so play around with all this, guys. So whenever I'm doing something, immediately you practice it, and it's not at all difficult if you follow the class. Okay, so you go back and practice. Maybe in half an hour you'll be able to do it. Okay, yes, we have a class tomorrow, guys. We have a class tomorrow. There were a lot of breaks in between, so to make up for it, so tomorrow at the same time we are having the class. Please make sure you attend the class tomorrow. We have the class. Okay, and on the Sunday we have one more class, which is a generic class. If you're interested, you can attend that. Okay, yes, Diva, good question. There is a class tomorrow. And any questions, people stay back, guys. You're practicing, you're not able to do something, you're able to do something, you wanted to share it with me. Yeah, let me know. Any questions, guys? Any questions? Is this pace okay, guys? The pace with which I am going, is it okay? Sunday, I'll give you the time, which will be Sunday morning for you. I haven't decided the time, Usman, yet. Okay, but it will be somewhere in the morning, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, or 8 o'clock. Okay, so if you have any suggestions on the pace, let me know, guys. I'll try to fix that. Okay, wonderful. Yeah, Usman. Yeah, wonderful, guys. Anything else?